بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا إنا كنا خاطئين قال سوف أستغفر لكم ربي إنه هو الغفور الرحيم صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm going to talk about, inshallah, the importance of Shab-e-Jummah. And the verse that I recited is from Surah Yusuf, verse number 97 and 98. It says, and this is the whole story of Hazrat Yusuf and his brothers and Hazrat Yaqub, how Hazrat Yusuf was separated from his brothers, and the brothers, played a vital role in separating the father from the son. And when they realized their mistake towards the end, and Hazrat Yusuf was found alive, not only that he was alive, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given a very high status. At this moment, they repented and they asked for forgiveness. How did they ask for forgiveness? They went up to their father and said, "O our father, ask for our forgiveness of our sins. Indeed, we have been sinners." He said, I will ask for your forgiveness from my Lord. Indeed, it is He who is forgiving and all merciful. The reason behind reciting this ayah is that, first, the concept that when we ask someone to make dua for us, when we ask someone such as Nabi to make dua for us, it is not considered to be shirk. Rather, it is considered to be the sunnah of Quran, because in Quran, the children of Hazrat Yaqub are actually asking their father to go ahead and ask for their forgiveness. Therefore, they're seeking this means towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Hazrat Yaqub is the messenger of Allah. He's the Nabi of Allah. He's ma'soom, and he definitely has a very high status in the sight of Allah. Therefore, they want their forgiveness in a way that it reaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. So there's nothing wrong in using a means such as a prophet of Allah. So when we ask through Amirul Mu'mineen or when we ask through Rasulullah, it is not considered to be shirk, because it is actually the sunnah of Quran. Second purpose behind reciting this verse is the Mufassirin have mentioned as to why did Hazrat Yaqub delay by saying Sawfa astaghfiru lakum Rabbi. Sawfa, whenever it comes in Arabic, it's denoting on the fact that I will do it in future. There are two words in Arabic that we use. One is sa, just a scene, and one is sawfa. Scene is when you want to do something which is in near future. Sawfa is which is little bit further ahead. So let's say you want to say, I will leave. I will sa'azhab. When you say sa'azhab, that means you're talking about that you will leave maybe in the matter of a few hours. But when you say sawfa adhab, it could be in matter of a few hours, or it could be tomorrow, it could be a week later, or so on and so forth. So sawfa reflects towards something which is done in a future. And therefore, he also delays by saying sawfa astaghfir lahum. Let's look at why is he delaying it. First, before I continue with that, we see that Jummah is the name of one of the days of the week, which was called Aruba with Ain in the ignorant era, Zamana Jahiliyyat. First person to call it Jum'ah was Ka'b ibn Luway ibn Ghalib, among the ancestors of Rasulullah. Among the days of the week, Friday has a special place and superiority. Prophet said that it is the head of all the days and superior to Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha as well. That's why you normally hear on after Jummah prayers or during the announcement of Jummah prayer, Eid Jummah Mubarak. Why? Because this is considered to be Eid. It is actually above Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. But unfortunately, in Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, we make this effort to come in large numbers. But when it comes to this Eid, which is done on regular basis, on weekly basis, we're not able to live up to that expectation. I guess because things when they're redundant, things when they're repeated very so often, insan loses the importance of it. Although Eid comes once a year, so we show so much importance towards it. But because Jummah and Shab-e-Jummah is coming very often, every week for that matter, we sort of take it for granted. We see that Shab-e-Jummah as well as Jummah, we look at as to how the different nations, the divine religions have chosen days for themselves, and they were sacred days for them. So you'll see the Jews, the Sabbath, which is also Sabbath in Arabic, is Saturday. That is considered to be their sacred day, a day of their holiday, which is considered to be, the many Orthodox Jews, they actually fast on that day. In fact, those who are really strict about it, start from the night of Saturday. They do not ignite anything. They do not light anything up. They do not put anything out. It is considered to be a sin of that sort in them. So for example, if they were driving a car, those Orthodox Jews, and it would be Shabbat Saturday for them, they will stop. They will not even turn the car off. They'll just get out of the car and they'll walk. To that extent, they keep this to be very sacred to themselves. And they go ahead and fast on that day. Saturday, the whole day is considered to be very sacred for them. Same thing, you look at the Christians. The Sunday is something which is, they hold it for their church day. They go to worship and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, in the part of the world that we live in, Saturday and Sunday is official holidays. Usually people get it off. And therefore, the main reason behind it is so that people of one faith can go ahead and practice their religion on Saturday, and people of other faith could go ahead and practice their religion on Sunday, and it is considered to be a day off for them. But unfortunately, in this part of the world, we don't have Fridays to be as a national or public holiday every week, or a weekend for that matter. Even in some Muslim countries, even Friday is not considered to be a holiday, let alone in America or the other countries of that sort. So we can't really blame it, or we can't really complain, because some of the Muslim countries do not observe Friday to be a day of holiday for themselves. But unfortunately, or fortunately if you want to call it, Friday is our sacred day. So all divine religions, they chose one day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose this Friday for us. Rasulullah chose this Friday to be a sacred day in Islam. And therefore, it is considered to be very sacred from the aspect of du'as, from the aspect of worship, from the aspect of fasting, and all the other things that are associated with it. But we don't get it off. So when we don't have it off and we can't come to gatherings on a large number on Fridays, alternative that we have is the night of Friday, which is known as Shab-e Jummah. Good thing is that the day starts from the night time. It begins after Maghrib. So basically Friday has started and it will last until the next Maghrib. And so this is where you have this opportunity when you're unable to attend the gathering on Friday, the prayer on Friday. You take this opportunity for you to come with your family one day, the way Jews have Saturdays when they perform their worship. The Christians have Sundays when they perform their worship. We should also make sure that this Thursday night, because not everybody can take off from work on Friday. A lot of those are genuine reasons for people to not be able to come for Friday prayers, because it's right in the middle of the day and usually people are working. But this is one opportunity that you and I have, is to be able to come on the night which is preceding Friday, to be able to celebrate in a way that it is considered to be Eid for us. Salawat Beji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Again, with everything, this day is also recommended that you give sadaqah. Thursday night, which is basically Friday night, you give sadaqah, starting from the shab, starting from the night time, give sadaqah. And the same way, the multitude of rewards, it's doubled on this day. I will recite some ahadith in front of you, which will show you that how the rewards are doubled, and the same way the adhab is also doubled. So if you, for God forbid, do a ma'asiyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's double, jaza for that. And if you go ahead and do good deed, there's double reward for that. Now going back to the verse that I recited from Surah Yusuf. Why did I choose that verse? It says, Sawfa astaghfiru lakum. That Hazrat Yaqub, definitely just like any father, loves his children. So why is he delaying asking for dua? And the children know that as soon as he makes the dua, his dua will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will have this forgiveness, and they will be considered repented. So they don't want this to be on their shoulders for any moment longer. Why? Because you don't know when you're going to die. And if they were to die in that sense with this crime on their shoulders, their final abode would have been hell. Why is it that Hazrat Yaqub delaying the process? Hazrat Yaqub is ma'soom. Hazrat Yaqub is Nabi. He's father, a compassionate father towards his children, like any other father would be. But still we see that Hazrat Yaqub is delaying asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this dua. Our sixth Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, and this hadith is in book Man La Yahdurul Faqih, where Muhammad ibn Muslim asked our sixth Imam in regards to why did Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam delay by saying Sawfa astaghfiru lakum, that I will in future ask for your forgiveness. Later on, Sawfa, I explained what Sawfa means. He said, later on, I will ask for your forgiveness. An qareeb, main aapke liye dua mangunga. Why did he say that? He said, because akharahum ila sahri laylatil jumu'ah. These are the words of our sixth Imam in Man La Yahdurul Faqih. He said he delayed it until the night of Jumu'ah to make this dua, to have certainty that although he's the Nabi of Allah, but coupling it with the night of Jumu'ah to make this dua will make it definite that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely accept and or give or grant this forgiveness to the children of Hazrat Yaqub. Salawat bheji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So you understand over here, even Nabi Allah, which if he makes his dua at any time, if you and I look at the adab of dua, if we follow those adab of dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept at any time. His rahmat exceeds his ghazab. But still, Nabi of Allah is teaching us a manner, is teaching us an etiquette. What is the etiquette? He said, even if it comes to asking for the forgiveness of my own children, Sawfa astaghfir lakum. Sixth Imam said he delayed it until the night time of Laylatul Jum'ah, which is Shab Jum'ah, to ask for the forgiveness, to make sure, to be certain that there's no means that this dua will not be accepted in the bargah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we see that what are we missing on this night? This is the night of blessings. This is the night of rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially this night and the day of tomorrow, which is filled with the barakat and the blessings. And if we come together in congregation, we make this dua. What do? We recite Hadith Kisa. We do the zikr of Ahlul Bayt. We recite Dua Kumail, which is the best dua when it comes to admitting the sins that insan has committed. Insan cries reading this dua, admits the fact, looking at the translation as to what Amirul Mu'mineen is trying to tell us. By reciting those du'as, by listening to those du'as, we're making it a collective effort in congregation. What could be better than that? Doing that on the night such as Shab Jummah, where the amal are accepted as it is. Salawat bheji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Keeping Mehboob Bhai's suggestion in mind as well, inshallah, I'll try to be as concise as possible. Under the narrations, look at the narrations about the Shab Jummah, we see that there are many ahadith describing the fadilat and the virtues of it. Now, if I go into all of these ahadith that I have in front of me, it will take quite some time, so I'll divide it. Inshallah, mention a few today and maybe at another time. One hadith, again, is from our sixth Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, Inna Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala la yunadi kulla laylat jum'atin min fawqi arshihi. Before I get to this hadith, another tradition that I remember in regards to Shab Jummah. Imam was also asked in regards to the deceased. And he said that the deceased, those of your relatives, those of your friends, the family members who have passed away, people are asking, do their ruhs and arwah, are they able to go around and fly around and come by? Can they visit us or can we visit them and whatnot? Imam gave one reply. He said, and without going into the details, he said, on Shab Jummah, the arwah of mu'mineen are looking towards their graves. And they're asking to the person who visits those graves to make or send some sort of gift for them. Person said, Imam, what kind of gift? What can we send for them? He said, make dua for them. Shab Jum'ah, take this opportunity to even visit the graveyards. And if you can't visit the graveyards, at least live up to the expectation of the deceased, because they're looking towards their own graves, seeing who has come to visit them. In this moment, when they're all alone, who has come to visit them? So make sure you take this opportunity to also pray for them. Imam in this hadith says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala لَجُنَادِي كُلَّ لَيْلَةِ جُمْعَةٍ مِنْ فَوْقَ عَرْشِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls out every Friday night, which is Shab-e-Jum'ah, from the top of his arsh, مِنْ أَوَّلِ اللَّيْلِ إِلَىٰ آخِرِ, from the beginning of the night till the end of the night. What is the beginning of the night? Maghrib. Maghrib is the beginning of the night. Unfortunately, the concept of Maghrib, or concept of night, for us starts at midnight. No, that's not when the night starts. Back in the day, or even today, those people who lived during Sandy struck us, and we didn't have power. Some of us didn't have power for many days. At least we didn't have power for about 10 days. And, it was the October or November, I believe, November, and the Maghrib was around 5:30 or 5 o'clock, just as it is right now. So close to 5:30. So when you don't have power, what will happen? 5 o'clock, it will be dark. It'll be dark outside, it'll be dark inside. What would you do when it's dark outside and it's dark inside? You can't have candles all over and then, do any sort of productive thing when you don't have light, because we are so accustomed to it and we're so dependent on it. Back in the day, I don't know how people used to live, but now we're so dependent that you can't really do anything much in these candles. So after performing Maghrib and Isha, it would be like a nighttime. Just go to sleep. So when you go to sleep at 6 in the evening, you'll definitely wake up 3 or 4 in the morning. And that's the same thing now you can understand as to what the nighttime meant back in the day. Because obviously they didn't have these lights. They didn't have television to keep them up late in the night watching late night games or whatnot. They didn't have any of those things. They didn't, had to wait for any of those things towards the late hours. So they would go to sleep and they will wake up early in the morning. You hear even not too long ago, even some of our grandparents, they used to get up 4 in the morning, even way before Fajr prayers, an hour and a half before Fajr. But what are you doing before, hour and a half before Fajr prayers? I mean, what can you get up 15, 20 minutes before it if you want to perform Salatul Layl? That would be enough. No, hour and a half before Fajr prayers. So that was something which they were doing. So you see this is where we understand the night, concept of night. Night begins when it's dark outside. Night begins, from the time of Maghrib. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls from the beginning of the night, which is the Maghrib time, until the end of the night, which is all the way up until the Fajr prayers or just before that. Because Salatul Layl is performed up until Fajr prayers. So you have to consider the time of Layl until Salatul Layl could be performed. And that is just before the Fajr prayers. It says, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call upon? إلى آخره ألا عبد مؤمن يدعوني لآخرته ودنياه قبل طلوع الفجر فأجيبه. Is there a mu'min who's a servant of mine who asks me and performs the dua in regards to his akhirat and in regards to his dunya until tulu' fajr? I will go ahead and accept his dua. There's no doubt that I will go ahead and accept his dua. Ala abdun mu'minun yatubu ilayya min dunubihi qabla tulul fajr. Is there abd mu'min who goes ahead and makes repentance and tawbah before the tulul fajr? Fa atubu alayhi. I will forgive him as well. Ala abdun mu'minun qad qattartu alayhi rizqahu yas'alni az-ziyadata fi rizqihi qabla tulul fajr. Is there a mu'min upon whom I have given him sustenance, that he asks for increment in his sustenance? I will definitely فَأَوْسَعَ عَلَيْهِ. I will expand the risk upon him until the Fajr time. أَلَا عَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ سَقِيمٌ يَسْأَلْنِي أَنْ أَشْفِيَهُ قَبْلَ طُلُوعِ الْفَجْر. Is there a mu'min who's sick, who's ill, asks me for dua to be cured in this night until tulu al-fajr? I will go ahead and فَأُعَافِيَهُ. I will go ahead and give him afiyat and cure him until then. أَلَا عَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ مَحْبُوسٌ مَغْمُومٌ يَسْأَلُنِي أَنْ أُطْلِقَهُ مِنْ حَبَسِهِ. Is there a mu'min who's in a prison, who's mahbus, who cannot come out, asks me to be released? I will make sure that he's released within that night as well. I will go ahead and accept his dua. أَلَا عَبْدٌ مُؤْمِنٌ مَظْلُومٌ يَسْأَلُنِي أَنْ آخُذَ لَهُ بِظُلُمَاتِهِ قَبْلَ طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ فَأَنْتَصِرَ لَهُ. The person, if he was to ask me about that which is, taken away from him by the force, by zulm, I will be able to return that thing back to this abd mu'min. And he says, وَآخِذُ لَهُ بِظُلُمَاتِهِ قَالَ فَمَا يَزَالُ يُنَادِي بِهَذَا حَتَّى يَطْلُعَ الْفَجْرُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps on making this announcement until the tulu'ul fajr, but there are not many people who reply to it, and there are not many people who live up to. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling upon the people from the beginning of the night till the end of the night, but there are not too many people who reply and say labbaik to the sada and the nida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Just last thing in regards to Jummah as well, because this is the day of Jummah has begun. As we keep on mentioning, our day starts from the night time. So it is considered to be Shab-e Jummah, and it is the day of Jummah tomorrow. One hadith in regards to Jummah as well, which I read when I was traveling to Saudi Arabia. And in Medina, there's a masjid of the Shias, where inside a mazra'a, inside a farm, by Sheikh Al-Amri Marhum, he established a center or Imam Barga, and there's a Shia mosque inside that, and we prayed Jummah prayers over there the way we prayed behind a Shia alim. And I was looking around on the walls, and there was this hadith that was written over it, so I copied it, and I wanted to share with this hadith as well. This shows the ahmiyat and the fadilat and the virtues of Jummah and Salatul Jummah as well. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says, قال النبي في خطبة طويلة نقلها المخالف والمؤالف. That in a long khutbah that Rasulullah has given, which has been quoted by everyone, mukhalif and mu'alif, إن الله تبارك وتعالى فرض عليكم الجمعة. That indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it wajib upon you to perform Jum'ah. فَمَنْ تَرَكَهَا فِي حَيَاتِي أَوْ بَعْدَ مَوْتِي. Whoever relinquishes it, or shuns it away, or tark kar deta hai isko, fi hayati, in my lifetime, o ba'da mauti, after my death. Rasulullah is saying this. Whoever does not take care of this Jum'ah, or whoever leaves this Jum'ah, tark kar deta hai is Jum'ah ko, in my lifetime and after my death, istighfafan biha, belittling it, making it khafif, not giving it too much ahmiyat, aw juhudan, by denying it or disbelieving in it, فَلَا جَمَعَ اللَّهُ شَمْلَهُ وَلَا بَارَكَ لَهُ فِي أَمْرِهِ. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what will he do to him? He says, وَلَا صَلَاةَ لَهُ. This person, none of his prayers are accepted. أَلَا وَلَا زَكَاةَ لَهُ. His zakat is not accepted. أَلَا وَلَا حَجَّ لَهُ. His hajj is not accepted. أَلَا وَلَا صَوْمَ لَهُ. His fast is not accepted. أَلَا وَلَا بِرَّ لَهُ حَتَّى يَتُوب. And even his good deeds are not accepted. If this person takes this Salatul Jum'ah lightly or in denial, after my death or in my lifetime. This is the ahmiyat and the importance of Jummah. That if Jummah is taken in this fashion, Rasulullah is saying every salat is not accepted, the Sawm is not accepted, the Hajj is not accepted. Unfortunately, we did not give importance in the time of the absence of Imam. It doesn't mean that the Jummah is saqit. It still is wajib, but it is wajib-e-ikhtiyari. You have the choice. You have the choice to perform dhuhr, or you have the choice to perform this Jummah. But when you are present where there's Jummah being performed and there's no udhr upon you, there's no excuse that you should not attend, it is actually better for you to attend Jummah than to perform dhuhr. Obviously, in the presence of Imam Ma'asum, after his reappearance, from wajib-e-ikhtiyari, it will become wajib-e-aini, where you will have to attend this Jummah and there will not be any excuses afterwards. Inshallah, we'll continue next week talking more in regards to the importance of Shab-e Jum'ah, especially the listeners out there as well, to understand that when you come together in masjid to perform the amal of Shab-e Jum'ah, the benefits that it has with it, and all the favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows upon the people sitting inside a masjid, doing these amal together in congregation. Definitely there's no way for us to limit or to count this favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to be able to follow the teachings of Masumin alayhi salatu wassalam. Oh Allah, give us the strength and tawfiq to be able to strengthen our sufuf, strengthen our jamaat, strengthen our congregation by attending the programs more often. Oh Allah, give us the tawfiq and the ability and the strength to be able to follow the footsteps of Masumeen alayhi salatu wasalam. Oh Allah, hasten the zuhur of our weighted Imam and make